Hello. Hopefully you can see me and hear me okay. Please let me know where you're from, whether you're from YouTube or Facebook. And remember, if you are on Facebook, hey, how you doing, bud? If you are on Facebook, use your name so I can say hello to you, because on Facebook they don't put your name on there. So today what we're going to be doing is just talking about something. It's not a really big deal, but I think it's kind of fun to try and make your solo sound a little more real. Hey, Andy. Andy in Limerick. How you doing, Andy? Good to see you. So we already have a bunch of people here, so go ahead and say hello. We'll get going here. Mike is here from upstate New York. Capker is here. Mark Vincent is here. Ronald is here. Dan is here from Minnesota. Donald is here from Missouri. Awesome. Bob is here. Good. Thank you, everybody, for taking some time out and hanging out with me on this Monday. Hopefully I can show you something that you can utilize a little bit in your playing. Austin is here. How you doing, bud? Zoha is here. Linda from Richmond is here. Neo is here. Mark is from England. Very cool. Max Greenberg from Oakland. Lisa's here. All right, cool. So hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. This is so awesome. I appreciate your time. And so let's go ahead and get started. And remember, if you're looking for any guitar stuff, you're learning how to play scales or chords or songs or theory or whatever, you can head over to guitarzoom.com and check out the guitar courses that we offer and the membership that we have as well, that sort of thing. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get started. So what I want to show you today, again, is not a really big thing, but it's something to think about that there's two things I want to talk about that kind of spice up the way that you play your scales. So let's just take something like E major, right? Okay, so when you play that, the first thing I want to talk about is the importance of learning how to slide and make it sound as smooth as you can. And what I like to do with sliding a lot is that I'll play a note and then I'll slide to the same note that I just played. So for instance, if I do something like, and I'll play this high E here, and then I'll slide into the note. And you can slide as much as you want or as little as you want, but it's really effective. So there's a number of different ways that you can utilize slides. One way is to start a phrase with your slide. Another thing that you can do is end the phrase with a slide, okay? Now, there's a bunch of different ways you can think of slides, but for me, I think of it one of two ways. Either you're sliding with an intention of accenting a note, like if I play, you're hearing both of those notes. If I slide with what I call an airplane slide, which means I don't really want you to hear the first note, I just want you to hear the impact of the slide. So if I go, like that, okay? So oftentimes, if I start or end a phrase, it might be what I call an airplane slide. So let's say I'm sliding up like this. I'm going to slide into this C sharp here, and then slide back out. You're not hearing the first note. I'm not going, I'm not doing that. It's more of just an effect that I've got. Okay, sliding in or sliding out. And again, kind of into oblivion, if you will, right? So that's kind of how I'm thinking of that. So as I play, I might slide into a note and then slide back and forth. Hey, everybody. Hey, Bobby. This is what the brand is, a Suhr, S-U-H-R. Hey, Brian. Glad that you're here. Okay. See, so you can slide back and forth. You can just slide up, slide down. But get used to thinking about that, because without slides, when you play a scale, I mean, again, there's a lot of really effective stuff that you can do, but really think about just simple sliding ideas. If I want to go from here to here, I can play the two notes, but I might go, or, and again, I have to think about what kind of phrasing I want, right? Or maybe what I'll do is, instead of playing this E and then this D sharp, is I'll play the E and then slide into the D sharp. So think about that when you're playing a little bit, just utilizing slides, whether there's slides to begin or end a phrase, which again, I tend to call those airplane slides. The reason I call them airplane slides is because when you're on an airplane and it's landing, there isn't an exact spot on that it lands, right? The wheels just kind of land when they land, and you hope that everything goes well, right? Especially if you don't like flying like I do. But so that's why I think of it as airplane sliding, is when I'm sliding in, I don't want you to hear that first note. And it doesn't have to be really big. You don't have to start all the way from down here and do that. It could be smaller. Okay? And then the other one is with intention, right? You're sliding from something to something. So just think about that a little bit when you play. Now you can also do reverse slides. Now I shouldn't call them reverse slides, but we'll call them backward slides. So kind of a Steve Vai thing when you go. Now again, they're airplane slides because there isn't a starting point. It's more the effect of it. Okay? Tom says, how to train sliding to an exact tone? Well, you have to do it over and over and over. Like when I first started sliding, I can't remember a lot about it, but I know that sometimes I would overshoot, if I was trying to slide to this note, I would, slide too far or something like that. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. It just takes a little time. So that's a nice way to sort of accent and spice up the way that you're playing, okay? Now, there's a million things that we could talk about. Another thing to think about is just whenever you're playing, certainly when you're playing melodic or trying to keep things interesting, unless you're trying to play fast, If you're trying to do something that's faster, that's a little bit different, but I tend to try to not play all the notes sequentially in a phrase. I'll tend to play kind of staggered, maybe doing some more of maybe the arpeggio or something like that. That sort of thing when you play. So here's the big thing I want you to focus on. Number one is sliding, two different kinds of slides. The second thing is understanding that you can utilize this slide to start from a note that is not part of the scale that you're in, okay? And this is really important. Thank you, Dennis. I'm glad you're here too. So when you play, let me show you this now. Here's my scale. So let's say I'm on my root and I want to go to my major seventh, but instead of going to the major seventh, hey Alex from India, or sliding from a note that's part of the scale, which sounds beautiful anyway, you can slide from a note that is not part of the scale. So let's say I was going to slide from this note D right here. So that sounds really cool. So if I go, and I just do that little slide from a note that is not part of the scale to a note that is part of the scale. So if I was going to do a slide like that, where I'm sliding from a non-scalar tone, I can call that, I suppose, to a note that's within the scale, I don't want to overkill it by sliding before that, right? I might want to set that up. Kevin, thanks for being here. Gary, thank you. Corey is here. Very cool. See how nice that sounds? If I play and do that slide, now I'm sliding from the 7th to the 8th fret. The 8th fret is part of my scale. The 7 is not. But it sounds really nice. And again, it gives you this nice color sound because it's something different. Okay? Now, it doesn't just have to be going to the 7th. Like, it could be anything. You could slide from anything. So let's say I was playing something where I play. So right there, I'm sliding into the 6th of my scale. Again, from a note that is not part of the scale. It sounds really nice. So don't just think about the slide, which is really important, but think about the fact that you're setting it up. Maybe you're not playing that note that you're going to slide to in the phrase, and then you're going to play it. And then think about not sliding beforehand, so when you do slide from a note that doesn't make sense, shouldn't say doesn't make sense, but doesn't fit the scale, okay? Then it has more impact. Okay, so those are really nice to slide into the 7th or the 6th or the 3rd. I mean, you can slide into anything. Anything would be perfectly fine. If you slide to the 4th, obviously you're sliding from a note that already exists in the scale from the major 3rd. But it sounds really nice, right? Another one that I really love, and this one's a little bit different, but if I'm playing the root and I go to the 2nd, or let's say I'm coming down the phrase, and I get to that 2nd, and I want to resolve it back to the root, what I'll do is I'll slide a half step up and then back, and I'll just do that little subtle slide from, in this case, it's 9 to 10, and then it resolves back. I could do that an octave higher. You see, so if I was working my way up again, not playing all the notes of the scale, you get some really nice sounds by doing something like that. So it isn't always just having more notes or how fast you're playing or something like that. Those are all great. But like Denny says, this is why I love music. Creativity is always endless. Thanks, Steve, for the slide review. You are absolutely welcome, Denny. So, and it's the truth. Like, think about how things sound, not just the fact that you're playing them or they fit, you know, logistically into whatever key or whatever. Those are all great. But sometimes it's nice to try and think about just the sounds that you're trying to create when you play. See what kind of nice sounds you can get out of something like that. So anyway, hopefully that helps everybody. Thank you so much for this Monday guitar motivation. Hopefully that gives you something to work on for this week. Please do me a favor, like and share it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And you can always go and check out guitarzoom.com and see what kind of guitar courses or membership stuff that we have available. And most importantly, stay positive and keep practicing and stay inspired. Stay motivated to keep playing. It's really important. All right? So everybody take care. Have a wonderful week.